All right, we are live, officially live. It is Friday. It's Friday,
Friday.
October 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern. Another edition of an impromptu Lucky Trader Lounge. Just because, after being outshined by Danny Miranda, bottom left corner, not to be confused with the other Miranda tonight, we'll introduce in a second. But just because I continue to be outshined by Danny, I went out tonight. Visited my local Best Buy, grabbed an HD camera, plopped it on my MacBook, probably incorrectly. And I look a lot clearer, which is either good or bad for the viewers at home. So I appreciate everybody hopping on. We have a few guests tonight. Danny, of course, but brother Max, who is working on an NFT project as a developer, and Lou for Lou Dog Sports on Twitter, joining us as well. We have some others saying good morning in the chat. GM, for those who may be in morning. It's not morning time for me, not here on the East Coast. Max, I know it's a little bit earlier, but yeah, thanks for hopping on here, guys. I don't know what to do hosting three other people, Danny, because who do I pass it to first, right?
I've never done it either, and
I
it's an
know.
exciting challenge. We will
It is a
explore
challenge.
together.
It is a challenge. So here's what I want to say, though, for folks who may be tuning in. One, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for showing up here to talk NFTs as well. We are just here to banter tonight. There's no particular agenda, though, given that we do have Max on the stream. We are going to be talking a little bit about his upcoming project. And I want to hear some from you, Max. Whatever you're able to say, I'd like to learn a little bit about what it's like to be a developer on a project, and kind of the stresses and or whatever comes with that. We'll get to it in a second, I promise. But otherwise, there is no formal agenda for tonight. We just have 4 people on to talk about NFTs. You guys are welcome to drop at any point in time. No obligation to stay on.
Peace.
Yeah. You're welcome to it if it comes to it. I promise I will try to pick up the slack. But nevertheless, if there are people that are viewing and want to ask questions, whether it's to myself or Lou or Max or Danny or the group at large, please do feel free to use the chat, drop something in, ask a question. We are happy to answer those. It does not need to be super specific to any particular theme. We're just happy to be here to chat NFTs. Again, no formal agenda. Happy to answer questions. Please throw them whenever we can. With that being said, I do want to allow both Lou and Max to introduce themselves. I think that is only fair. And just because I'm just going to go clockwise, Lou. So this is, I'm not picking any favorites here or anything. But just because Max is to my right, at least what I'm seeing, I'm going to let Max introduce himself first. Max, take it away.
Yep. Hello, everybody. I'm Max Miranda. As I like to introduce myself in the Twitter bio. In my Twitter bio, I'm the brother of the Danny Miranda podcast and now the Lucky Trader NFT podcast. I'm currently a dev at LinkedIn, but right now working on the Quantum Kokobru NFT project as the lead developer, doing everything, running the gamut from website to generating art to writing the smart contract and deploying that. And it's been a whole lot of fun figuring all that stuff out. So that's what I'm up to.
Awesome. Lou, take it away. A little intro.
Yeah, I'm Lou, Lou Dog Sports on Twitter. I've been in the NFT space for a little while, and we started up a little podcast called Club MGMI a couple months ago. So we have some people in the chat that are regulars of that chat. So don't let them troll you too hard, but they might, if you let them just ask any sort of question, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really had too many trolls yet, Danny, but I only think it's appropriate, right? That it happens.
They're good trolls. It's not
Good
like
trolls.
The trolls that, say negative things.
Well, either way, I think we should definitely be open to it, right? And be willing and ready to to pounce if necessary on the troll. So thank you, Danny. Do you want to give an introduction to those who may be joining from Club NGMI or anyone out there? Thank you again for joining. Danny, quick intro.
Yeah, I'm Danny Miranda. I have a podcast, the Danny Miranda podcast, and now I have a second podcast called the Lucky Trader podcast where I just talk about NFTs, and Logan Hitchcock's got the handy drop up menu pulled up right there. So yeah, I'm really enjoying just asking questions, speaking to people who are in the space of NFTs and people who are in the space of personal development for my own podcast. and just enjoying the process of that. It's been such an incredible journey over the last year, just putting my voice out there, putting content out there, spreading some joy into the ecosystem that is this floating rock in space. And I'm excited to do this Lucky Trader Lounge tonight and for an indefinite amount of time with you, Logan.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I want to get right into Max's stuff because I pulled Max in last minute and kind of just hit him out of the blue with a Twitter DM just because, Danny, I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to make it. So I want to respect his time and get right into his stuff. And just before the show started, you heard Max mention quantum quokkas. I learned what a quokka was, and they are adorable. And I think it should be shared with a broader audience. So Max, I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. And I know this is not going to be the best way to showcase it. I'm just in Twitter taking a look at quantum quokkas at present time. Correct me if I'm wrong. The website you mentioned is in progress. I'm not missing something yet, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
We have not launched the website yet. But yeah, I mean, what do you want to know about the quantum quokkas?
Okay. So first of all, I would like for you to explain the connection between, how this thing comes about, because from our previous conversation, which was very brief, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Kokobru was an pre-existing company, right? So not an NFT or Web3 company natively. We're talking about, I don't know if brick and mortar, but at least e-com, right?
Exactly.
Right. So existing kind of traditional business now entering into Web3 and NFTs. If you can start there, tell me how this comes about, and then explain to me a little bit about why a quokka, and anything else you can tell us about the project without, of course, no obligation to leak alpha, though I'm sure for those listening, it is welcomed.
Yeah, so absolutely. So in terms of my connection to all of this and how I got involved with this jitterless coffee company that's now creating NFTs, one of my college roommates is the CEO of Kokobru, and he started this company back in college. I would see him all day grinding, like not going to any of the parties. We would bag on him relentlessly for the fact that he would not show up because he'd be too busy chugging espresso shots trying to figure out the perfect formula. And so he's been working on this Kokobru company for a long time now. They raised $70,000 Indiegogo just a few months back, maybe a year back. And now basically they contacted me as somebody they knew who was a developer and was very heavily interested in the NFT space to get involved and develop for the project. And what I think is so exciting about this space is that like Web3 is such a new thing. We're all learning together. And so to get this first opportunity to jump in on it and like really learn is so incredible. And there's been so many amazing things. But in terms of like why Kokobru wanted to get into NFTs in the first place, I mean, I've asked this on the intro call. I was like, what are you guys doing releasing NFTs exactly? And they were like, well, to be honest, the way we see things going, it's the same way it was with Web2 and companies. You either adapt or you get phased out. So they want to be as early as possible, exploring things with Web3 and kind of putting themselves out there and see what comes back from it.
I'm muted. Yeah, that's exciting. I want to make sure we don't skip over the quokka part. So your college roommate, right?
Yes.
Grinding espresso shots. I'm a huge espresso fan, by the way. So I need to ask you about the spin to win button in just a second, because we should spin to win on the stream. However, I want to know where and how he lands on quokka, because I had never heard of it until just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. So the story behind the quokka, as far as I know, is that basically it was this incredibly endangered animal that smiles all the time and is known for being very cute. But then very recently it blew up because of this thing called the quokka selfie, where a bunch of celebrities like Bradley Cooper, etc., would like post photos of themselves with this adorable smiling little animal. And like, so a bunch of people donated a bunch of money real quick to like help save these things. And so I think they doubled the population or something like that in the last 5 years. Still only 15,000 in the wild, but So they basically were like, okay, we want this, we want to delight our users. What is the happiest animal on the planet? Quokka. And I think that was the connection made.
I think it's delighting. Lou, do you have a take on Quokkas? We have not seen
Yeah,
something this cute yet in
it's an
NFTs, have
adorable
we?
animal. I mean, I feel like cute sells, right? A lot of these,
It
like with
does.
the pudgy penguins, that was a big one. The winter bears. I think these
Cool
Quokkas
cats
are
are pretty cute. Yep.
Yeah, cool cats.
It is very interesting. Okay, before we get back to the NFT part, I do want to go back to the website. Okay, have you had Quokka cold brew, Max? I'm sure you have, right?
Yes.
Were you part of the testing process at all? Were you like a guinea pig, or
I mean,
were
I've
you
had-
a Quokka?
At this point, I'm sure I've had at least 3 or 4 different formulations of Kokobru. I mean, it's crazy. They just came out with a V3. They're always iterating and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had it quite a few times. I enjoy it. It's very good, and it doesn't give me the jitters and everything like that. So it does what it's proposed to do.
Danny, have you gotten the hookup on this?
I actually have not got any Quokka brew myself, but I'm expecting after I mint my Quokkas, I will be getting some Quokka brews ASAP.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And maybe you can't share this part, Max, and that's okay. Just shoo me right beyond it. But my expectation or assumption, which could be completely incorrect, is that this merging of a e-com or brick and mortar business with NFTs, they're going to play around in some way with some of the at least beginning models of those blends that we've seen, which is like, loyalty or perks or benefits like coupons or, whatever the case may be. Is there anything you can say there or?
Yeah. So within our Discord, we've officially released our roadmap. I want to give a huge shout out to all the business people on this who have been contributing and helped write the roadmap. But it's exactly like you said, there are multiple things on that roadmap that have to play around with the actual physical Kokobru product. So the first thing is that starting at 0% minted, meaning immediately, you'll be able to stake your Quokka NFT in exchange for a Quokka coin or Quokka token. I think the official name is just Quokka. I'm not sure if we've settled on a final name yet, but we've got staking. Quoken is I mean, we don't want it to be too much of a mouthful, but I think that's up there. And so basically the idea is that you stake this token or you stake your NFT, receive your tokens, and then you can redeem those for physical, actual Kokobru products. So we're trying to tie a good amount of utility into the project and make sure that people feel like they're actually getting something out of owning this NFT. And then the other couple things on the roadmap that play around with it are we're doing, I believe, custom cans with one-of-ones printed on them. And I believe we're giving portions of the proceeds to the owner of the one-of-one NFT. And then on top of that, we're also planning on having at 75% minted a pop-up shop, both in a real-life location that we let our Discord vote on, and in the metaverse. So that all should be very exciting. And I think I just want to give a huge shout out again to like our community manager, Kevin, and our business lead, which is Ofek and George. And they've done an incredible job putting together the roadmap and making sure that these are things that they excite me. So hopefully they excite all the 600 plus people in our Discord already first week, and growing more soon, hopefully.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely make sure. I didn't see it listed on the Twitter, Max, and it might have just been me glossing over too quickly, but definitely make sure that link gets to us so we can put it in the show notes. And maybe also even drop it if you want to drop it in the chat here for folks to be able to access that and hop in. Can I ask
right now
one last thing? And then I want to let Danny and Lou ask questions about Quokkas. What is the spin to win button, and should we spin to win?
I was looking at that too.
That has been there since like V1 of the website. That's just a WordPress plugin that lets you get a discount or free T-shirt, something like that. You should spin to win live. I have a feeling you're like a gambling man.
I am a gambling man. Should I do it now or should I save it?
Why not?
Let's do it now.
Okay, let's spin it. Let's do it.
Let's do it live.
Oh geez, here we go. Take my money. Take my
He doesn't.
I'm not going to dox myself here, guys. Logan at luckytrader.com if you do have questions or feedback on the show, though. Oh, man, free shot glass would have been sick. 10% off, I'll take that. Okay. I'll paste this in the chat. So if somebody out there wants to, I think it's only fair, right?
Yeah.
We have to give something to the people that spent their time coming here. Go ahead, guys. Quoka Loca 10 for 10% off at Kokobru.com. Or I don't know if I said that right. But anyway, Danny Lou, questions about Quoka, quantum Quokas. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just curious. This is the first that I've seen of an e-commerce store turning into, or a physical product and e-commerce store turning into NFTs. So how are you guys thinking that's going to affect your strategy moving forward? The fact that you don't have physical locations, but you have physical items. And I think that's an advantage you guys have built in, but what are you guys expecting from that in terms of advantages?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the first thing that comes into play is that you want to make sure that your roadmap and everything around that advantage, everything is based around that advantage. So, like I said, we're constantly trying to think up new ideas for things that we can do that will provide utility to token holders and connect back to the physical product. And I think the idea is just to continue to innovate and do things that haven't been done before, because nobody wants to see a copycat project that's done the same thing for the millionth time. So thinking outside the box, definitely, and we'll see where it takes us.
And what about just challenges you face that are unexpected in terms of being a developer for this project? Did you have Solidity experience before going into it? And if so, how did you learn that and tackle Solidity and coding?
Yeah. So, I mean, a few years back, I was part of an organization at Berkeley called Blockchain at Berkeley, and they kind of gave me some foundation, but it's been a little while, to be quite honest. But good news is that Solidity, in terms of smart contracts and stuff like that, there are so many resources out there nowadays in terms of contract templates and things that other people are doing. Because of the transparency of the space, you can literally look up anybody's smart contract and see what they did, and then integrate that into your smart contract. So in terms of challenges, I would say the biggest thing is focusing on security. Like, I want to make sure that the mint goes off without a hitch. And I've been reading a bunch of articles about, from people breaking down specifics of what went wrong. Why was somebody able to mint more than they were supposed to at this mint, and why was this one compromised? Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everything works out. And if there's a mint issue, it's a huge issue, and the whole project can get flooded from the beginning. So that's been the biggest thing I've been focusing on. But just to go back to your experience question, it has been refreshing to revisit these concepts that I haven't picked up in a couple of years, and just kind of go deep in on them and understand why and how they were developed in the first place to serve these purposes. And once again, I do think it's something that any Web 2 engineer is not going to have a crazy difficult time doing right now, just because of all the resources that are cropping up.
Lou, questions for Max on anything?
I guess my first thought on this, because I know out in Denver they had a Denver beer code, did a beer for life, and it was just one, and they auctioned it off, and it went for, I think, over 4 ETH. But I guess my question, because with that, is you could have gone in and got, I think it was like a 6-pack or however many any time that you went. But is this going to be a continual utility? Like, say it's always good for a free one once a month, or like a free 6-pack once a month, or say it's 10% off always for life as long as you hold it. Are you going to have on the website you connect to MetaMask, and is that going to be how you integrate it? I guess is it going to be the continual utility, or more of a one-time thing?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be continual. We don't see there being a cutoff. The one thing that we're thinking from a business standpoint is that after a certain amount of Quokka tokens have been mined, and after a certain amount of NFTs, after a certain amount of Kokobru coffee has been redeemed, we might like set the bar a little bit higher as time goes on, just from a business sense, to make everything make sense. But definitely continual. And I do like that idea. I hadn't heard of that with the free for life and everything like that. Maybe that's something we could integrate into one of ones or something like that. Very interesting.
Yeah, Danny, I know you were mentioning to Max you hadn't seen or heard ideas like this really shown out too much. There was one with, we had a note from Ray here, Dom Perignon. They did a drop with like Lady Gaga. What was that? Like a month ago, a couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, it's been recent.
Yeah, and actually, so I pulled. I don't know if I can get into like the little world. I tried doing this. I was on like a call for Lucky Trader, and I tried doing this, and everything was in French, and like I didn't hit the Google Translate thing,
Yeah.
and I just did not have the. I got like all the way to the end. I selected my bottle off the shelf, got to the very, very end, and I am very risk averse. Max was talking about security. Awesome to hear that that is a primary focus from the developer of an NFT project, but I'm pretty risk averse. So I got to the very end and like it was still in French, and I was like, I don't know what I'm about to do. So I backed my way out. Lou, did you participate in this? Did you get a Dom Perignon?
I didn't buy it. Ray might have. I know a couple of people that were in our Discord went through it. I saw a picture someone posted of you get the physical one too with it, right? Like if you buy one.
Clue.
Yeah, I know people were going through the steps of it. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't realize it was all in French either. I probably would have done the same thing as you, just that you're unsure if you're going to click the wrong thing.
Okay, what?
Yeah, a bunch of people were looking at this, and their thought was, oh, when is Lady Gaga going to tweet about this? And then all of a sudden, it just sells very easily.
Okay, so this is what I was doing that day, and that day this shelf here was full. Is it still full of bottles, or are these empty bottles?
Sold out.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That
So
part
like
was
that.
in English.
Oh, was it? Oh shit! Yes, it says sold out. That one's easy to read. On the day though, when I got the ping, these were full of bottles, and like you'd come in and grab one off the shelf, and they were like starting to disappear. But as I started to do it, like I got connected my MetaMask. Probably against my better judgment in that moment. And then just got too far. And I was like, I'm trying to do other things. Like I'm literally on a call right now and not paying attention to the call. And maybe it's wise that I X out of this and before I do something really stupid. So
what's going on? Did Lady Gaga ever tweet about it, or is that still TBD?
Yeah, I never saw her actually tweet about it. I know. Chung, did you get one? I think he's one of the people that ordered it.
He says it's a 2004 vintage. Sorry about Danny, when we're in that other view and I put a thing up, it goes right over your face.
It's better for the viewers.
Right over your face.
There's
all good.
There's a couple different ones, I think, like different models, I guess.
She might have tweeted about it in French.
Oh, I think they were out of 100 or out of 50. So it was pretty limited, but I don't know if this was like a first edition kind of thing.
What do you think the total addressable market of NFT collectors who know French is? Right, it's got to be a very low number.
Well,
maybe
it's 10, lower
10,000.
than it. I mean, the whole market is like what? Well, we have people. Well, I don't think it's 1 million. No, I mean not yet, right? So Coinbase has 1.5 plus million people on the wait list. 2 million people on the wait list.
2,039,000. Yep.
Wow.
Oh, nice. There are 300,000 unique wallets, or sorry,
I think that's
unique
right.
like an estimation on OpenSea or something. Maybe it's 600,000. I don't know. It's one of those numbers. I mean, I don't know. I have no clue, Danny. But the cool thing is, right, what we can say confidently is that even if the number is 10,000 right now, the number in the near future is very much higher given there's no global restriction here. This is a global game. So Dom Perignon, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like far ahead of their time here, jumping in, just edging out Quantum Quokkas for this idea. So,
But I think this is kind of where a lot of the big name brands are going to go in the future, though, where you're able to. A lot of people, their thing right now is they don't understand the idea of just profile picture projects, like people who outside of those 300,000 wallets. So, like to explain to someone, hey, you buy this for X amount, and as long as you hold it, you're able to get a 6-pack of cold brew coffee once a month or whatever. I think that's easier to explain to people. And then, oh, if you don't want it anymore, you can sell it to someone else. So I think that's where NFTs are really going to go, like with these major brands. So I think it's a little different with wine because you're not going to necessarily resell that. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Jason in chat said it looked like you might only be able to get it if you were in France, the physical. So I don't know. I think there's going to be more of these that come out, though.
Yeah. Lou, do you have like a brand that you would sell out for? Like,
oh, man.
Like, so discard the NFT financialization where you could flip it for more, because we know there's tons of brands that you could do that with, right? Like, what is a brand that you would be excited to reap potential utilities and benefits from? And we know it's Kokobru, but you can't say that because we've spent enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have necessarily brand loyalty, but that's where Top Shot really interested me. So I live in Denver now. I'm not necessarily like a Nuggets fan per se, but I collected all the Nuggets moments with the idea of, oh, maybe I could get a ticket to a game because I own that someday. So I think it's more like with the Quotas, right? I don't just I don't have a cold brew coffee like brand that I specifically go to right now. So maybe like if I have that NFT and I start drinking those, then that'll become a brand loyalty. So I think maybe I'll use it more so with the idea of finding new brands.
There are going to be so many companies that come out of this space that are just built as a Web3 platform. Launch a cold brew company. You're going to launch a dog collar company. You're going to launch a million different types of companies that are just going to say, we're a Web3 company. We're giving community utility and we're going to go. Every company is going to go in this realm if they want to stay
dog
up with
food.
it.
You know what I want?
An NFT for the dog food brand. I would go for that.
On the pet subject, what I was just going to say, for a long time, what I've wanted to start, and I've had plenty of terrible ideas, but I really want to start a pet sock company. Not put your pet on your sock, but socks for your pets, because people love that shit, right? Like, I was just in Mexico City and I was astounded by the amount of dogs with like jackets and sweaters. And so I was there and I was thinking like, dude, my pet sock company would be so badass.
Would you buy a sock pet for Charlie, Max?
Charlie's my dog who's sleeping next to me right now. Sure, why not? If it's raining out, she needs some footwear.
So this is what we do. We basically could, like, you know, if we wanted to do this simply, we could basically take the socks, you know, the toads derivative, fork the whatever, right? Redesign, and then just do some sort of utility. This is the, you know, if we wanted to be really cheap and do it super easily, and then just add the utility of like once a month you get a pair of socks for your pet or whatever. You know,
like the like Bark Box. It comes in one of the Bark Boxes.
Comes in a Bark Box. You get a pet sock for whatever. The hardest part, and I actually went in on this idea for quite a long time. Like, I'm embarrassed to admit how long I spent on this idea. But I started to like look up like manufacturing plants, and the thing that I was like most concerned about was like creating the right sizes for like small dog, large dog, medium-sized dog, and then cats, right? And like, I don't know a percentage of households declaw their cats. So like, how do you get a sock that is appropriate for the cat? Whatever. Anyway, we don't need to talk about the pet sock idea. Nevertheless, I do agree both with you and Lou and Danny that this is the other thing about it. And this isn't to, it's not a knock on quantum quokkas at all, Max, because I think as of right now, there's not a whole lot of people doing this anyway. But I think like the loyalty aspect and like those initial utility benefits that we've discussed, those are like the immediate top of mind things. Like there are going to be things that people do that we're not even possibly considering right now that are going to be like super silly awesome, probably, right? And they're exactly what Lou mentioned. Like this is how you build brand loyalty in a way that your users are digitally native, and like Web3 native is like create an NFT that allows or unlocks things and gives them access immediately and gives them outs, right? Or, whatever the case may be. I just think it's inevitable. This is one of those things to me that makes too much sense.
Yeah. I mean, the way I think about this is like, it's such a difficult thing because there are so many people out there who are, basically creating projects that maybe they have cool art, but you're not sure whether to buy it for the art or for the community or for whatever. But once companies start catching on and start creating basically golden tickets, where that golden ticket gets you into everything, that's kind of, I feel like, what NFTs were designed for, and what the applications that are going to actually start catching on in the mainstream potentially.
Have you guys seen the Dirty Bird ones?
I know the Project Dirty Birds, I think, but I don't know exactly. Go ahead, Lou. Tell us more. I'll try to find it.
Started by
pumping your bags, Lou,
Claude
right
Von
away.
Stroke.
First show, pumping the bags.
Well, it's not really pumping the bags. It's very low. It's only like 0.04 or something. It didn't really shoot off or anything. But Dirty Bird, it's a brand by Claude Von Stroke, who's a big like house DJ, and they travel to different cities and they do. It's kind of like, it's not really like a festival. It's more like an Oktoberfest kind of thing. Oh, see, we got it on Lucky Trader too. But they hold like barbecues with live music, and the live music are people all under his label. So he has a label that I think is called Dirty Bird, something with that in the name. So like he made NFTs, and I got a couple because I know they have this in Denver every year, this like barbecue. And I want to say like to get in, it might be like $80-$90, but the thought process of, when it comes up, maybe I can show, I have this for 0.04 ETH that I bought a year ago, and I'll be able to go to the barbecue. And, I don't know if everything's like free while you're there or anything, but I've seen it. I've passed by it a few times. It's kind of neat. So I think, this is where a lot of the companies are starting to think outside the box versus just, the whatever toad koala picture that people just buy because they FOMO in or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
This is it, right, Lou? Like I'm on the right
Dirty
thing.
Bird
Okay.
Light Club.
Yeah. So I haven't plugged Lucky Trader too much here tonight. Haven't needed to, but organic opportunity here, courtesy of Lou. The Lucky Trader OpenSea Power Tool extension. You can get it in the Chrome Web Store. It's going to throw the rarities from Lucky Trader directly on the asset card as you scroll through.
I've been using that. I love it.
It's great, isn't it?
Very
There are
useful.
a lot of there are a lot of things I think coming to this too. Not to leak too much here. We already in the first week instituted a patch here to make it better for light theme users. There's a slight issue very, very early in the week if you're on the newsletter exclusive access list. But there's some other cool things coming to this. You can mass bid, of course, if we wish to, against Dirty Birds. I remember this dropping, and I feel like I tried to participate, and it was another one of those things where I was just like, I just couldn't do it because I had other things happening. My experience has been, Danny and I have talked about this a little bit, but my experience has been since working full-time in NFTs, I actually buy fewer NFTs because I'm doing work. And at my previous job, I was like looking for reasons not to do work.
Yeah.
So I was buying more NFTs. Anyway.
What was your previous job, out of curiosity?
Yeah, I was a marketing manager for a software company in business intelligence. Super boring. It's just like it's one of my favorite things about NFTs. One of the reasons that it's super exciting to me is like the ability to be like unlimited creativity, right? Like, and that's the thing about Web3 and crypto in itself is like, it's the smartest people in the world. I'm not in that group, but it's the smartest people in the world just doing shit. And like, you know what I mean? And so there are no limits on how creative, there are no limits on how innovative you can be. And now I have the opportunity to kind of participate in that, in the way that I can, not like I'm not a dev. I'm not unfortunately an artist in any real way. I did mint some non-fungible Logans in the beginning of the year, just as I was experimenting with NFTs.
Those are going to be valuable someday.
No, they won't. But anyway, yeah, so that's my favorite part about it, and one of the reasons that I was so drawn to it. Which I was talking with Danny earlier. I'd be curious to get other people's takes on this as well. But one of the things that also like resonates so much with me as it pertains to NFTs and my involvement is I really struggled to narrow down or like niche down into something. Like I'm someone that's wanted to write and produce content and do things like that. But I've always been interested in like a million different things. Like I love sports and I love music and Broadway and art, and not so much art, but I'm starting to love it a lot more. Ferocious, right? We have to talk about Ferocious on every single show. Anyway, like I loved all these
from my mind.
I loved all these things, and I love gambling, and I love like finance and all this stuff. And NFTs is like the perfect like culmination of all of those things, right? It's the financialization of art and music and culture and sports. And so it's given me like I'm sort of getting an out here where I don't need to niche down because NFTs are allowing me to kind of like circumvent that super narrow, super defined thing that other people do, right? Like we talked about this, Danny. I mean, Danny probably have the same thing, right? And Lou, I know you're a sports guy as well. Have you like sort of gotten that from NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree because, my undergrad was in finance as well. So I have that background in like data analytics, and it allows you to speculate as well. Like you're doing research. There's a lot of game theory involved. Yeah. And the gambling mindset of I'm going to spend money on something, hoping that I'll be able to sell it for more down the road somewhere. Right. And like, it's a lot of the similar people on Twitter that are going over all these things. I'm not sure if you guys listen to, but Adam Levitan's solo podcast, a few weeks ago, he was talking about how the way to like get ahead in a sense is by getting as niche as possible, because there's thousands of people doing content on like fantasy football right now, right? But what if you're doing content on a very, very specific type of fantasy football? Like, so that's where NFTs are kind of right now a niche, and there's not a lot of people out there who can really explain it to other people. So that's where like Lucky Trader was really interesting to me, because it's all about the like onboarding people who either haven't heard of what an NFT is yet or don't really know where to start. Because that's the question I get all the time is like, okay, I have a MetaMask, now what? So I think it's a way to have a niche, but it's also like I just can't stop thinking about NFTs every day. So to be able to really dive in, and it's that same idea of like, if you're doing what you love, does it count as work in that side of things? So it's like you said, I would do the same thing where, you have your work up, and I was working remote. So it was like, it's up there, but you're always like peering off to the side. Like, is there anything going on with NFTs right now? So it's definitely it's a cool time in this space this year. Definitely.
Yeah. Max, I know you're like a newer entrant of the of the four of us present. You would be the newest entrant, correct? What is attractive to you beyond, so of course you're deploying your actual skills and learning new skills, and I'm sure that has some thrills as well, right? But like, what is attractive to you about NFTs? In any way?
Yeah, I think for me, like when I first bought my first NFT, I kind of had that moment where I immediately got it. Like I was like, why would anyone want to own a JPEG? And then I saw it in my wallet, and I was like, I get it. It's a connection to like either. So it's some part of it is like, I guess the way I would think about it is that as humans, we're always searching for meaning in everything, and always searching for ways to, on a philosophical level, just kind of like add to our sense of self. And I own this. That's part of my identity. And so basically, we've done that for thousands of years in a million different ways, and this is just an extension on top of that. And so that is a big part of it. To see this whole new area of collectibles pop up I was first, okay, this is really interesting. And then I started to dig deeper into the theory of like into Web3 and the theories about how this is going to change, how this is going to change the corporate landscape in the future. And I would say definitely like that is a whole new element of what changes in the future, and like the amount of say that the consumer might get, or the amount of ability to invest in someone or something that they didn't have an opportunity to invest in before, is absolutely massive. So yeah, I mean, like just to throw an example out there, my brother and his podcast and everything like that, I've been following along since the beginning, obviously, and I would invest in him if I could, you know. And so like if he had a line of NFTs or something like that, then that's something that I would be able to invest in him, you know, in a sense.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to do that. Just like invest in people. Like
Definitely.
there's what there is called like BitClout or something like that.
Oh,
There was
geez.
some website like that, wasn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, there is. Yep. There's also like Idea Market. Danny, you talked to Mike. Is Mike from Idea Market?
Yep.
Which is something similar, a little bit different premise, I think, slightly different maybe. But essentially like, yeah, I mean, a way to invest in truth telling more or less, right? For Idea Market. I don't know. BitClout might be slightly different.
Yeah, BitClout
Yeah.
was more like a Twitter setup where you could like buy someone's stock, and as they got more people investing in them, your like token price increased.
Right. I think there's going to be a variety of ways to do this. So Max, you just brought up like buying a Danny Miranda podcast NFT, right? As a way to do it. Like kind of VFriends is sort of a proxy for that, right? Like you're buying and you're betting on Gary Vee or Tom Bilyeu's project. You're buying and you're betting on Tom Bilyeu. In a variety of ways. Like that's already happening. You can sort of do it with like CP Trey also mentioning this. Social tokens, right? We have like Rally, not to be confused with the hundreds of other Rally companies, but like backed by Andreessen Horowitz and others who are allowing creators to kind of like build their own tokens and have people trade them, right? In a way that sort of is creating a stock market for individuals. And I heard our CEO, Peter Jennings, at CSU Ram on Twitter, talk about this recently. I think it might have been on Club Top Shot about we haven't seen like the whole sports player stock market thing has been like an idea for forever. We've seen like iterations of it.
Pro Trader.
You're right.
Were you involved in Pro Trader at all?
No, I'm not. I don't even know. I'm not sure why I said right, but sorry about that. That was fake news. We were talking about real and fake news. That was fake news. Anyway, he was just talking about like NFTs here. He thinks is going to be like, we're going to be able to kind of get it, like, finally hit that sports stock market thing. And whether that's Top Shot or NFL Dapper or whatever, like a digital collectible type thing or something different. Yeah, I think you're going to be able to invest in people. You can invest in non-fungible Logans right now, right? Not financial advice. We haven't added this disclaimer at all either yet, Danny, but of course, nothing said here is financial advice, just informational purposes only. Just NFT banter, not investment advice. But anyway, it's great. Go ahead, Danny.
I want to get your guys' take on something I've been thinking about for about a week or two now, which is putting out and minting my first NFT as just a 1 hour phone call with me to test out in the space. You get a 1 hour phone call with me every week, and I'm just going to put that up as an auction, and people could buy it starting at 0.1. And if you want to invest in me, hopefully the token will increase in price as the podcast expands, as my own brand continues to increase, hopefully, fingers crossed. What do you guys think of that idea? What could I add to it? What is your first impression? Logan, Lou, Max, happy to.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first.
Please.
So I think realistically, doing something, whether it's 1 hour phone call or not, but giving access to yourself is one of the best versions of like utility and benefit that could come from something like this. Because, if you're betting on yourself, which I'm well aware that you are, you're going to be in a position at some point in the either very near future or just beyond that, that is going to give, with that access is going to give like incredible either economic value or professional networking value to whoever would be the holder of it. So I definitely think whatever you would do in that realm, including access, makes a whole lot of sense. I don't know exactly what people would want. I can say, again, not financial advice, but I can say a 1 hour phone call with Danny will get you super pumped up. You'll be
at the very least.
Yeah, at the very least, you will walk away very excited and have a lot of energy. And so if you're someone who lacks energy, you should think about buying the NFT, because even that 1 hour phone call, you'll have plenty of energy afterwards. But I think, Danny, I mean, like I said, of course, we're betting on you, Lucky Trader, right? So definitely aligning incentives with others that would be willing to do the same makes a lot of sense to me. The other thing I would say, though, is I'm like eager to see. We were just talking about the same thing with Quantum Quotas and Dom Perignon, right? We're just starting to see kind of like these first like sort of no-brainer ideas, right? Which is like connecting two dots that make sense to connect as it pertains to bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And so like the access one or like a phone call thing, like maybe that, right? Which is where it's like, it's the obvious dot to connect. That doesn't mean don't do it, right? But like, I would be curious to like, and I think I asked you this when you came on at Lucky Trader, which is like build your most weird, crazy, ambitious idea. And like, let's see what we can do to do it. Right. So like, that would be the thing that I would be actually more interested in, is beyond the 1 hour phone call, which may be a prerequisite. Like, what is something really weird and crazy that you could do or give as an incentive there? So, but I'll shut up. I'll let the other guys answer.
Yeah. I'd say, I think I would think of it the opposite way of how you described on the payment side. I know early on when I was starting look really deep into NFTs, Pranksy was doing this thing where I think it was for 0.25 ETH. It was like an hour long, like how to NFTs. Like Pranksy would answer any questions you had. It was like a one-on-one. And I almost think of it more like, you have a podcast brand, and some people talk about how they charge for podcasts. Others don't like to have someone on. So maybe that's like the way to charge for someone to come onto your podcast is, 0.1 ETH, and you'll be a guest at some point in time. And maybe that's how it's done, because I think the hard part with doing it the opposite way might be what's the like continual, kind of going back to what I was saying before, like continual utility, like once you have the item. Because I think some people are doing that with like, Zenica's done that. I think some people are doing that like singer-songwriters, or like creating a song and you can buy it. So I'm assuming that's kind of the angle that you're looking at, the same idea. So it's more like, how can, if they listen to it once, they want to use it again, or the next person wants to buy it, right? So maybe I think of it as like the opposite, where they pay to be on the podcast. I'm not sure.
Did you tweet about this, Danny? Is it Sean and Sam from My First Million did this?
They did something similar where you could have 5 minutes of fame.
Right.
Where
and they're sort of betting on, this is what Lou, I think, is describing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, but like they're sort of doing, you buy the NFT, you can hold it and redeem it whenever. I don't know if it's like redeem it once and it burns or whatever, but they're betting on their podcast growth, so that like you buy the NFT now for a couple $100 or $1,000 or whatever. And then when their podcast has 4 million listeners and airtime is worth, a bajillion, like you bought it for 500 and can plug yourself as much as you want. Right. Which is a really interesting ad model. But yeah, anyway, Max, thoughts on this as well to add in?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea. I know that people would continuously get a lot of value out of talking to my brother. Lots of interesting things.
Brotherly love.
Exactly. But the one downside or limitation of the model that with the one of one is that you're only allowing that one person to invest in your growth. And if they don't want to sell it and they just hold it forever, then it is basically just going to be delisted, and like it'll basically only exist in that one person's head. So if
Good
there was
call.
something you could do that like allowed a bunch of people who followed it to be able to get involved would be great.
Yeah. Danny, have you looked into social tokens like Rally? Have you looked into any of that stuff?
Very briefly. I haven't
Yeah.
gone too deep into it though.
You might be. So like I looked into it a while back, not for myself. My brand is very, very tiny, but like to invest in others, right? I was like thinking like, who can I catch? We talk about this rookie card type stuff, right? Which is something I would love to get to before we all sign off here. Anyway, I think it would make a whole lot of sense for you, and I think you would be eligible, basically. So I think with Rally, for example, like you had to meet certain criterion based on you kind of like apply to potentially get your own token. But I believe you would probably meet the qualifications. I mean, you have a big brand and a notable podcast. You've done it consistently, so
there's something different about a token in my mind and holding an NFT. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
don't really feel the same way. Do you know an NFT is a token, right? You know the
Of
T
course.
stands for token? Okay.
No,
just making
of
sure.
course.
I'm
Of
also making
course.
fun of you kind of a little bit.
Yeah. Please continue to do so as we continue on our Lucky Trader Lounge journey. But it's like when you hold a token, for me, it's like you can't see it. It's maybe not in your wallet. It's not as accessible. You can't show it off in the same way.
Yeah,
Whereas if you hold an NFT, that's now a part of your identity. Max got that 0 to 1 moment when he bought his first NFT. He's like, whoa, I get it now. It's different than just holding a token for me personally, at least.
Yeah, I feel that. So, all right, I want to shift conversation if that's okay. We're talking about Danny Miranda. We're talking about potentially Danny Miranda rookie NFT, right? I want to talk about rookie cards and sort of NFTs, and we're talking about sports stock market. And so I think this makes sense as kind of a wrapping, all these intertwining things. I'm really curious, like Lou, you mentioned you have an data analysis, finance sort of background, right? And so analyzing things objectively is something that's in your nature. Max, you're obviously very smart as an engineer. Danny, I know you as well. Like, what are you guys thinking about, like, as you are investing in projects potentially or picking projects, and how are you evaluating them in the sense of like that rookie card type thing, right? So, in the way of like buying rookie cards and evaluating player performance, meaning that you see a player in a particular sport that like you think is going to be awesome. So you buy up their rookie card because if they do achieve stardom, the rookie card appreciates in value, right? So like, I don't know if this is making sense at all, but like Lou, I know you're real in the weeds and all this stuff, but like, I want to know, are you sort of utilizing that same type of framework as it pertains to your NFT investments or collections?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was huge that I started with Top Shot because speculating on players makes a lot of sense because you could have, a rookie and you're comparing different rookies, or someone's hurt and because you follow the NBA, you know that they're going to come off injury in a couple weeks and maybe they come back and have a good game. So you're like speculating in that way. Whereas in these projects, it's more about like rarity or the team. So one, I'm not sure. Are you in Doodles at all?
I don't own I tried to mint a Doodle. This
That
is
was
where
a
like,
tough one. Yeah.
were you on
Warm
the
color
you were on
palettes.
the pre-sale, weren't you?
Lou just comes
Lou.
in, keeps pumping these bags. That's all he does. All he cares about.
Doodles should be pumped. The color palette
color
is
palette.
phenomenal.
Yeah. I didn't mint one. I had to buy it on secondary.
Okay.
But
okay.
There's these projects that you can look at their team, like the team behind it. I know that Lucky Trader had one of the first rarity tools for it. So a lot of people were on there and they're checking the rarity tools. So some of it, and this is a little, I guess, moving back a few months, it was like, okay, rarity tools is out. And then how to price items, how to find deals. So I think one thing with my analytics mindset is you go in and you go to, these are all the people from our Discord. But you go in and you could see,
love Lou.
like on Lucky Trader on the right side, right? You could say set max price to, I don't know, it's around like 1 something is the floor right now. So maybe you do max price of 1.5 on the ETH, right? And then rarity rank, I would max at like 4,000. So then you could say, oh, here's an item that's at or around floor. See, so that one's rank 619. And it's that one's on an auction.
Sorry, I
Shout
got
out
it
Rey
now.
Mysterio.
I would look. Oh yeah. So I would look at this, right? And I'd see that one is a top 1,000 rarity and it's 1.3. But you look at it and you're like, well, it looks like a girl with a mustache. So I don't know if the next person's gonna want to buy it. So it's all on. It's partially what looks like a deal right now versus what is someone else going to be willing to buy, or is that something that I find cool that might look like me? Like one of these guys with a cigarette and he's got that guy 1727 rank. Like that one, he kind of looks cool. He's got a turtleneck. He's got the cool hair. He's got smoking a cigarette. And so partially it's like just scrolling through, and a lot of people didn't know about Rarity tools earlier on. So being able to use the tools is huge, I think. And having that data analysis background, I think, a different mindset on what to look for. And a lot of these things you're trying to, maximize reward, but a lot of times it might be worth it to go up in rarity in order to do that. So with Top Shot, the big thing that early on they had was like the serial numbers. So if you were, 3-digit versus 4-digit versus 2-digit. And so they were like these gaps, and it's being able to go through and find where things are mispriced before other people can. So it's kind of just maneuvering around and using the tools, which has been really exciting for me.
Yeah, I want to hop in here, Lou, just to show Lucky Trader because it's my job to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Lou mentioned that we had one of the first rarity discoverabilities for doodles. It is one of our competitive advantages at the present time is we are typically revealing these rarity rankings in the Asset Explorer for projects far beyond or far before many others. It's not required that the project pay. So Max, in your case, that Quantum Quotas dropped, you guys don't need to pay us anything to get them on the site, right? They'll just get there. And I don't know if you guys are going to have rarities associated. We didn't ask that, and you don't need to divulge. But if they do, they'll be there.
We are going to have rarities.
Yeah, do they have to like approve or request to be on there, or
They do
are you
not.
just going to take whatever the big ones are?
Yeah, so they do not request. And this is actually something that I saw Tony in the chat. We'll be working on this. And like this process will be iterative, and we'll continue to kind of fine tune exactly how and what the criterion are to be able to get them there. As of right now, for the most part, drops that we know aren't like obvious scams or have if there is a sense of legitimacy to them and they sell out, and because sellout is typically pretty indicative of like some decent demand, right? Of course, they're going to find their way there. So we're not like really holding any editorial judgment over what goes and what not, and of course the data and the rarities themselves are completely objective. We have a data scientist on the team who built an algorithm or model to be able to do that. So they get there very, very quickly. It is one of our slight competitive advantages, and it's great. It's pretty good. So we did quite a bit of traffic like right after the doodles reveal. We do have to wait for reveal, of course, right, for these to be able to check into the rarities. Like, for example, I'll show you what happens if not. Creature Toads, which doesn't reveal until Sunday. You'll just see all the fungible tokens, right? These are all interchangeable at present time. But as soon as Creature Toads reveal, I know Danny, Creature Toads holder, we talked about this.
Have one.
Pump those bags.
I got to get this off the screen for those who may... Yeah, sorry for the sake of the viewers, it was a little trippy there. Basically to answer the question, Lou, anything that more or less is going to be there, and it's not required that anybody apply. It's not required that anybody pay. It's a free resource for any user as well. You guys can hop in and access it. Nothing that's behind a paywall as of right now. Every Lucky Trader tool, so that includes the OpenSea extension, is free to access. I should note we are in beta, of course, so you may see things that are, hold this little Top Shot thing, right? We are still in beta, so you may see some things from time to time that don't quite look right. Please reach out and let us know. And if you do have feature requests or feedback about the site as a whole or whatever, please let us know. We're happy to take it. So,
what are the
Danny,
odds
did you
that
have something
Quokka? Yeah, what are the odds that Quokka Quantum Quotas make their way to the Lucky Trader Rarities.
So
are we
I
gonna
think
have
if
those?
yeah, I
Like,
think if Quantum Quokka sells out, I think there's a pretty great likelihood it ends up on Lucky Trader, for people to check out the rarities. And we, of course, Max, for not just because Danny's here, but of course are rooting for the project to sell out so we can see it there. I'm really interested. I think they're just like actually very cute. And Lou was talking about like cute cells, cute cells and
simple.
Simple.
Is the
too,
color
right?
Simple
palette
and
warm
cute.
enough for you though?
Oh, geez, we should look back at this. Max, we're gonna have to get some insight into the color palette that's being used.
The color palette, I cannot disclose. That is confidential information. The color palette. I can start reading you hex values if you want.
Okay.
A lot of browns, right?
Well, I mean, wait, are maybe you can't tell us this. Will the Quokkas themselves have there'll be like other profile picture projects with a variety of traits, right?
Yes, of course.
This is gonna be great.
Mhm.
I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that there are warm color palettes.
I believe so. If we go to the tweet, look at the GIF that I used or the GIF on the Quokas.
Oh, are these bears? Do they count as bears? They're not bears. They're like, is it a rodent?
Is it a
it's not
monkey?
even remotely bears. They're more like squirrel types. I don't really know.
They look like bears though.
Look at that thing,
a
dude.
little bit.
It's a wallaby. It's a type of wallaby.
Oh, it's a type of Is a wallaby a bear though?
I don't know.
Is it in the bear family?
There should be a Quokka breakdown
Marsupial?
of its lineage.
It's a marsupial.
Okay. Which I'm not sure disqualifies it because a koala is a marsupial and also a bear, right? Or is a koala bear not a bear? Is that one of those things?
One thing I'll say is that one thing we're integrating into Quantum Quokkas is there will be breeding and there will be babies. And
oh my gosh.
And
oh, man.
if you look up a photo of little baby Quokkas, like they exist in their pouches. Quokka jelly, I think is what they're called. They're adorable.
In here.
They have a little pouch. Yeah, so I think that makes them marsupial.
Like a kangaroo. Yeah, similar.
Yeah, that's what makes it a marsupial.
You just mentioned breeding. You mentioned a token. Are you worried about doing too much in the first week or the first month? Like, this is a crazy roadmap you guys are planning on achieving.
It's a good question. I mean, we try to make it like simple enough for people to understand, which is why we always start out with the utility of the Quokka and the Quokka token. But basically, like at the end of the day, if the goal is to provide value to the community and add value to anybody's wallet who owns it, then of course we're going to have to throw our hat in the rings doing a million different things.
Yeah.
Just the way
we just talked about this last night, Danny, or maybe 2 nights ago, about like, what does a new project need to do to differentiate now? Right. Because you have projects that have had the luxury of adding a ton of financial value to their holders in the very, very beginning. Right. Like, does it matter what what Yuga Labs, which is the creator of Bored Ape Yacht Club, does it matter what they do from here on out for the initial holders? Right. Unless you're a bag holder or somebody that bought now at 40 or whatever, and let's say they never grow again. Does it matter what they do? Like, that brand to you is esteemed forever, right? These new projects, especially potentially launching like Max, I mean, this is, I hope for the best success for Quantum Quokkas. I'm excited to try the cold brew. I'm gonna log in with a different email and spin to win again. Damn it.
I know I'm gonna have to spin to win.
Yeah, we're gonna have to spin to win again. Anyway, we're going to do it before the show ends. I'm going to do it with Danny Miranda Danny at luckytrader.com. Full disclosure, we're doing it.
Just giving my email out to the world?
We're giving it out to the world because if you guys have ideas for people you want on Danny's podcast, you should email him. We want to have all the best people in NFTs on to talk about NFTs.
Yeah,
and
you just had Andy, right?
Andy will be posted. Andy 8052, I believe.
From Fractional. Fractional had tons of huge news today as well.
Andy will be posted on Thursday, and I believe he mentioned that huge news in the podcast. And Monday will be Zeneca, previously mentioned in this Lucky Trader Lounge. So
yeah,
high quality people.
High quality people, of course. But anyway, what I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, geez. What was I saying?
You're talking about his podcasts.
Yeah, I know, but I was saying
You were
something
saying
else.
Danny at Lucky Trader to send.
I know. It was
send people
before.
my
I
way.
lost it. I lost it. Anyway, I was wishing you luck, Max, in the project. I wish
Thank you.
the most success for you guys. Hopefully, it'll be really successful. And we would love. I think we maybe look to wrap up in the next 10 minutes if that's okay. I know we're already pushing people into bedtime here on the East Coast. I know, Max, you probably have not eaten dinner or anything yet, so we'll let you do that. So we'll wrap up in the next 10 minutes. But I do want to say thank you for coming on. You are welcome back at any time, with or without Danny, of course. He was a late ad. Actually, you were in before Danny for this particular
You're trying to get rid of
so.
me already, Logie. Huh.
I know.
I see how it is.
I mean, the whole impetus behind this show was like, I got this camera and I was like, I actually pinged Tony first before anybody else. I was like, hey, can you look at this video and let me know if I look better than I did before? Because here's what happens, guys. And I think we should wrap the show with maybe some art, right? We did that last night too. Last night, yeah, Danny and I, it's a mandatory, like it's a rule in this show that I talk about Ferocious. Disclaimer, I am pumping my bags, but also Ferocious is the best. So, like, you have to love Ferocious. That's like a rule. Anyway, we were talking about Ferocious last night, and I really want to get Ferocious on the show, whether it be this stream or Danny's podcast or whatever the case may be. So I was looking to clip this clip from last night's show to send to Ferocious, but my video is atrocious. I like look like such a slob compared to Danny. And I mean, that's like naturally the case, but I went and bought a new camera. So that's why we're on this show. And I appreciate you joining, both Lou and Max. I'm hopeful to have you guys both back many times. And hopefully I appreciate all the engagement tonight as well. Lou, the Lou fan club showed up. We need to bring Lou every single week so that we have people here to give us praise.
Fellow the viewers, they like to come out. I might do like a marble stream tomorrow. They want me to do they have
Marble Run.
It's how we set like a bet. Yeah, like the Steam game
my
where
nephew
there's like
loves
30 people, and we gotta decide. And it's better than just doing one of those wheels. It's a little more involved, and yeah, you could get like 20-25 people just to watch that. It's crazy. Like, I mean,
the people love Lou, man. Lou, I'm still
president.
really Lou. It was your recommendation that put me to the broadcasting software that we're using right now. I'm still learning it. This is episode 4. Yeah. I think I'm doing okay, but there are plenty of things I can learn. I don't know how to make it like featured on you or anything right now. Like, so I just did it to myself, but in the near future, I will learn how to do that so that when everyone shows up for Lou, I can just pump Lou in the stream. But anyway, we've got like 7 minutes left because I said we do 10 minutes, and I just spent a lot of time talking. I want to talk about art because we typically talked about just typical collections, right? Profile picture projects. I do think the art like behind projects like Doodles and others is like really nice. I am a sucker for a warm color palette, as those who may be joining in the future will be quick to find out. I want to though ask Lou, I don't think we've talked about this. Of course, Max, we've never discussed anything until tonight on the stream. This is a great way to meet you. Art, Lou, do you own any like traditional or more traditional digital art?
I'm trying to think if it's considered like traditional. I do have some art that it like. Are you saying it isn't one of these like 10K projects?
Yeah,
I have some that
you own an artist's work. I obviously love Ferocious, but like there's hundreds, thousands of artists, right, that are dropping one of ones or editions. Do you do any of that collecting or no?
Yeah, I have a bunch of those, maybe about anywhere between like 5 to 12. I guess it depends on what you consider collector's art, but that's kind of how I started with this space. Oh yeah, I actually have made my own collection as well.
Lou, how do I search for it?
It called Lou Rado, actually. So I put up a collection of photos that I've taken since living in Colorado. Yeah, that's it. So I have like a collection, and it's like pictures that I've taken while being out west, and it's basically I shared it in our stream, and this is how the marble races started, because I created my own roadmap, and it was somewhat of like a joke roadmap, copying other ones, and one of the things was like a marble stream. But how it started was because I said when there's 10 I'll not raffle off, but I did a marble race to see who won a Penelope's Country Club. And so what
Okay.
happened was the Penelope's Country Club at the time was minting and looked like it was never going to mint. There was only like 2,500 mints, so it was kind of a joke. But then, like a month later, Penelope's had like a 0.65 floor, and people are like, "Wait, I could spend 0.0369 on this, and then end up getting, a 0.65 if you're 1 in 10 chance, basically." So then all of a sudden people started buying it in our Discord, and then kind of went off from there. And that's where these marble races came from. But yeah, I have some art that I got into early on. Have you heard of Crypto Geisha?
No, and sorry, Lou, I hopped away because I was showing off the mass bid feature.
That account. Oh yeah.
Is this it?
No, I think you might have to put a space because it's that account under account. It's that one. Yeah, that top one.
Top one.
So this is one I got into early on. You might like the color palette of them, but
Okay.
it's kind of cool. A lot of them move. And so this was one thing I got into early, and kind of what got me into NFTs was I bought one of these, and what used to happen at least was you buy into one of these NFTs and the person finds you and DMs you. And then so I bought one and they DM'd me. They're like, "Thank you so much. Like I'm passionate about the project," and they tell me their whole story, and it was really cool. So I'll keep a lot of those. And not try to sell it for more so like the sentimental value. But those ones caught my eye. They were kind of cool. A lot of them had some like imagery to them. Some of them I had originally, it was the only one of one at the time that I bought. And they will just tweet out and be like, "Oh, I just listed this one," and whoever gets to it first, right?
Yeah.
So I do like that side of it as well. And those are the ones that I generally try to hold. I'm having we actually have someone in our Discord. I don't know if you've heard of these ones, but his name's also Logan, and it's
Probably a
Oilies.
better one.
Have you heard of Oilies at all? His name's
No, I haven't.
Logan Larkin, and
Oh wait, this
he
name
works on.
sounds familiar.
He's connected to Gary V as well, but I actually ordered a print of the one of his that I have, and I'm gonna hang it like up on the wall. Yeah, so this is his original collection of Oilies. So he makes these like oil paintings, and then the Oilies V2 is actually the one that I have, where he made a generative version of it.
Okay. So I think you just glossed over. We're gonna end up going beyond the 10 minutes. So Max, if you need to leave, you can leave. It's okay. But I'm into this now, and I want to chat with Lou a little bit more about art. I think one of the things you just mentioned, Lou, like you're talking about the sentimental or emotional value like attached to these. I think it's easier to get that from the art.
Yeah.
Right. And the other part about it is like, and I don't know if this is collection size or whatever the case may be, but you mentioned the connection between you and the artist who is forever grateful for you buying something right from them. And that's just another thing that like with the huge profile picture projects, I know they're non-fungible in the sense that each one is sort of unique, but it's just like owning one is just like owning one like everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure that's anything that means or matters at all, but I think the art in particular, like I'm calling this what I'm seeing on the screen. This is what when I said traditional art, sort of this is what I was thinking, right? Not like generative, uniquely random, whatever profile pictures. But anyway, like I think this stuff is one much easier to hold to zero. Like if you're worried about that type of thing, right? Like, you know, that it's cliche, but buy what you like with the art stuff, it's like, I think it's easier. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like way easier to just be okay with like liking the art. Like truly, I know that's cliche and like, I will get made fun of for saying that, but my ferocious pieces, like I just actually like what they look like. And of course, you know, I would love to make a financial gain on them, but at the same time, I love that I own it and like think that it legitimately looks cool and like I'm glad that I have it. So Anyway,
Do you
Max.
buy two?
I was just gonna say I
Yeah.
might be a little bit biased in this situation because I'm working on a generative art project, but
Okay.
I do think that I've been blown away by the amount of people who have felt like a deep connection to their generative art and who have seen. I'm a trooper. Yeah, I'm trying my best, but no, I just have enjoyed being here and honestly grateful for the opportunity. But getting back to the point, like I don't fully understand it because I would maybe more gravitate toward traditional art like you, but that's just what the people have found and that's what they like.
Yeah. Danny, art takes for those, because we have many more viewers tonight. They need to hear your art takes if you have them.
Yeah, I think that art is overrated. And I think that you should be betting on the artist. And I think the artist is going to be the creator of the project. And if the creator of the project is Quokka and you believe in Quokka winning in 10 years, then bet on Quokka. If you think Ferocious is going to win in 10 years because he's going to find a way into culture and he's going to connect himself and he's going to use his art to connect himself, I think bet on Ferocious. If it's a business, if it's an artist, if it's a musician, if it's a person, bet on the person more so than the art itself. That's my take on it, but I'm biased as well because
I think it is a hot take. My guess though is like I think what you just said basically though, like focus on the people that win. Yes, okay, 100%, totally agree with you. But I think the people that are gonna win are the people that like make good art. One that people enjoy.
Mechaverse has great art that people enjoy. I mean, what was the initial hype around the project?
That was the hype,
oh, these are sick. This is the sickest art ever.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, right. You got me. Okay, you got me there. But let me finish my thought. Not to say that this still isn't disputed easily, but I think the people that are going to win are going to build good art and the connection. Like it's all going to be there, right? So like I think you're going to need good art plus the connectivity, right?
Disagree, because Gary Vaynerchuk is going to take his crappy art and those crappy drawings that a third grader could do, and those are going to become motion pictures, and he's going to pay real artists to make something on top of that. So I think the art is overrated at this point.
The art almost doesn't matter anymore, at least currently.
Damn it, Lou.
Maybe long term, but yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with at least for the big projects, but maybe the smaller, like 100-item stuff, it's gonna matter if you have good art.
Yeah, it pains me to put this on the screen.
the art is the way in. The art could be the way in for somebody. For somebody to look at the thing and be like, "Wow, that is really cool. I want to learn more." Yeah. But it's not going to be the thing that's going to carry value long term, from my perspective.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's fair. Max, did you have something you're going to add there?
I was just going to say, I feel like it's such a growing space and there's such a diversity of people who are interested that I think everyone's got their different reasons for being involved. People who are buying VFriends, though, are pretty much exclusively buying it because they believe in Gary Vaynerchuk. And as his stock rises, they'll see a price increase.
Yeah, I guess this isn't to backtrack for myself. I put it on the screen. But I guess
I appreciate the third party objectivity of being able to put that on the screen.
Yeah, I have to remain loyal to the people and the data and information. At Lucky Trader, we are trying to build a really strong, objective brand,
unbiased.
Right? And so, yeah, exactly. And so if I got, I'm going to put it out there and it's okay. But anyway, I think maybe one of the ways that I'm thinking about it just a little bit differently, Danny, is like through the lens of like the more traditional artist, right? That it is just producing art with like no roadmap or no utility, right? And I'm not going to argue that it still may matter less than I'm actually holding that it does. But in those instances, I do believe that like the art will maybe speak for itself. But we'll see. And you know what? We got to get Jerry Saltz on. We got to get a real art critic. We got to get a real art critic on to talk about digital art. Max, you're talking about we're going to go till 10:30 now. Sorry. We're going to do it.
Let's do it.
Max, you can drop whenever you need to. Get yourself a Kokobru and get your ass back here. Just
I
kidding.
had a cup of coffee just before this, so I'm
Okay, great. Anyway, yeah, Max, you said you're working on a generative project. You don't need to disclose too much, but like what is the art to you there? Because let me explain. We have not chatted about this, but Danny and I have. I'm struggling as a collector to like gain conviction on the generative thesis, so art blocks as a community and as collections with like generative art, right? A lot of people that have built their thesis and the conviction behind art blocks as a platform is because of kind of like the marriage of art plus code plus technology, right? And like all of those things, and sort of, maybe I'm not explaining this well,
No,
but
I mean, that makes
anyway.
sense.
Yeah. Anyway, like I'm curious from your standpoint, what about it for you is like why pursue it, right? Like what about it for you is fun? Is it like the output, or is it like literally the coding, like that's the thing, like I'm really struggling for. Like some people are talking about this, like the beauty of the art blocks or the generative pieces being like the code. And I get it. Like I get it, right? Like the technology enabling this thing is like awesome. That's incredible. But I'm struggling to like get the conviction of like why does that, like it doesn't matter too much to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm more like about what the output looks like. So if you can take away anything from that, what I just said,
You're kind of asking me a couple questions. Like one,
probably,
like
yeah.
what's fun about like working on the project? But then two, I think you're also like asking like, what do people see in it? Do they see the value as being the code, or do they see the value as being as the art?
Yeah, I think I'm asking you what you see. Like,
Oh,
do you
okay.
see the value? Yeah, you just clarified it for me because my ramble didn't make sense. What do you see the value in? Like, are you seeing the value in the outputs? Like when you do the stuff and you get like an output, like, are you
Yeah.
like, oh, damn, that looks awesome? Or are you like
100%.
writing something super complex that like hasn't been written before, and you're like excited about that? Like, where does it fall for you?
Yeah, so in terms of the generation of the art, that is probably mostly straightforward layering stuff and figuring out and making sure that the layers look good together. That's not doing something that nobody's done before, just to put that out there. But if we were, maybe then I would see the value in that and like more of an art blocks type project. But for me, in terms of what I see the value in, is the end product for sure. You know, like it's kind of the way I think about it is it's kind of fun when you've got this randomly generated piece and you see different trait layers lining up and you kind of picture a story from the end result. Like maybe they've got a pirate hat and an eye patch, and that just happens to sync up properly based on your representation of a pirate. And that would be a more simple explanation. But things of that nature, seeing things come together.
Yeah. So, like from that though, you just mentioned output is going to matter a little bit more to you, right? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. I guess the thing that I'm struggling with as like a collector is like, I agree that I think I'm going to give more weight to the output. And so if the output is better than the art blocks generative on chain output, like, why do I care that it was art blocks if it looks better? I mean, maybe it's just like incredibly way too subjective. I don't know. Lou, do you have thoughts
Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, I think with these generative projects, there's a couple things that kind of pop up on them that don't pop up if it's like a one of one. And one of the main things, because I've talked to Carlini about this with his Penelopes, because their thing was they had mustache as a trait that was like part of eyes because of the layering. And so one thing that I've noticed in a lot of these projects is once they actually combine all the traits in one, they can kind of look funky, but you're not going to have that when it's a one-of-one art piece that you draw out or however you say digitally make it. So there's more pieces of the puzzle, I guess. I know. I'm just gonna give examples of different projects that I've probably seen or like interacted with. There's just so many different projects though, but
I'm going to give examples of projects
know.
that I own.
yeah, I mean,
Pump
that-
those
that-
bags, Lou.
I do own a decent amount of
Yeah.
the Penelopes, but that's one thing that once he said it to me, I noticed it more in these projects. The Knights of Degen is one that I do have a Knights of Degen, but I've noticed in some of the individual pieces, either the eyewear it like looks off, or some of them like the goggles are over the hood, like outside of the hood. And
Yeah.
so some of these projects where if you maybe you do that in testing, and I've heard some projects they'll test a fake run of 10,000 and then go through them and check. And so some of it is just trial and error, but you don't really get that when it's your own art piece that you're painting yourself.
And so you put that as a pro for painting an art piece yourself?
I think it's just there's less variables involved that could go wrong in that sense. So
Interesting.
it simplifies it.
Yeah. Okay. So that could be seen as like a pro for traditional art because of the fact that like you're not going to run into any layering issues. But if you find a project that doesn't have any layering issues and the art just looks clean and nice all around, that's a huge pro for them because of the fact that they were able to sort through the complexity of the problem. And that's something we're doing right now. We've done, about I would say we've done about like 10 sample runs thus far of just working through layering issues and making sure that the art is the best it can possibly be. Once they're finally generated, we'll probably just take the best ones and run another batch and take the best ones from that and make sure that the quality of the art that people are getting is what we strive to be, the highest possible quality.
Yeah, I think actually in both your explanations there, I probably just gained a little bit more appreciation for like the necessary problem solving that's behind the scenes in the building process there. That, you just like as the collector, and I'm not a developer or like, I'm not writing. I don't know what you do it in PS5J or whatever. I don't know. Is that even right? Is that a thing?
PS5J? That's a console followed by a letter.
I don't know. Leave me alone. Yeah, isn't that a thing?
It's a console followed by a letter.
It's HTML5 is the only thing I could think of with the 5.
Is there a PJS something?
JSON? JSON?
No, I know that. PJS5.
I'm not
PJS5. PJS5. P5.js. I'm going to pull it up.
You said PS5J.
I know I said it terribly. I know.
Oh,
P5JS.
Okay, good. I didn't know this.
JavaScript library for creative coding. How about that, guys? Logie might know a thing or two.
Wow, Max got.
Okay, people are saying.
Exists almost.
All right, this is the last time I'm going to do it, but we have people clamoring for it. People are asking for 11 p.m.
Oh man, I would say how about an anti-pamp? A project that I didn't get into was the 2545. Did you guys see that one recently?
I did see it. We were quick to rarities here on luckytrader.com. I don't have the screen up.
So my issue with that one is the opposite. There's too many traits. So you can't figure out like what's good or what's bad or like what looks cool.
Well,
and Mecca's kind of had that too, right?
I was just going to say this was like sort of the issue with Mecca's, not necessarily the too many traits, but like the not knowing.
Yeah.
What the heck, man?
Like 4 of those looked exactly the same. Like they probably have one little thing different.
Yeah.
Something with the head or the eye. So I think some of these projects overcomplicate things and then they don't even look cool. But that's where doodles. That's why I like the doodles because they were simple. You can tell, oh, that one has a crown. This one has glasses. And you could search by trait very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a cat,
Right. Yeah, and you can use, actually, we haven't pumped the traits filter at Lucky Trader, but if you hit the traits tab in these NFT collections, you can get an idea of what Lou's talking about with what is that trait, that's mentioned in the metadata. Again, this is pulled directly from the underlying metadata, not something we're making up. So you can see what is body alien or face alien actually mean, and then you get some other information that is attached to that. So, Yeah, I mean, I like that. And the other thing I like about these, and this is the case with a lot of projects, is just like it's obvious like what it is. You know, like coffee head, like this makes sense, right? Like when you see this, that it's a coffee head. So that's pretty cool.
That's sick. I like that a lot.
I had not seen that one previously, but
And you can also probably search by sold by trait, right? Are you
yeah,
able
you
to do
can.
that within Lucky Traders?
Yep.
Because I
So
think
if you go
that's
to
more indicative.
yeah,
like
this
lore.
is one of my favorite spots on the site. I think my internet's slowing down on me a little bit here as I push it far beyond the brink of what I told it needed to hold up for. But yeah, you can go to the transactions tab on Lucky Trader for any NFT collection that's supported here, and then you could do the same thing, right? So we could, was that coffee head or coffee?
I think it's part of head.
Yeah, coffee head. So I could add in coffee in the traits filter here, and then let's take just a second, and I can view all the transactions that took place. It's going to take a little bit here as we're pulling in a bunch of data.
Lots
but,
of big ones though.
So Max, for your project, are you going through and putting in like coffee, and for every trade, are you doing that?
Ooh.
Yeah, so basically, like the way it works is that when you generate them, you have to make sure that you can generate the metadata right alongside it, and that metadata gets listed, and that's how the API knows which photo to reference for which NFT, and basically, so that whole process has been set up, and that's fairly straightforward. But I was just gonna say, if you can't hear, my dog is like whining in the background. She wants to go out. So I think,
oh, Max, you gotta go, dude.
that is my final straw, gentlemen. But this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on, and I hope I can come on again in the future.
Thank you, Max. You were a great participant. Sorry to push you so far beyond. I think we're gonna stick on till 11, but please hop
great.
off.
Wow.
Enjoy.
Make sure you measure those paws for Charlie's eventual pet socks.
Will do.
Okay.
Keep me
Thanks,
updated.
Man.
Peace.
Yes. Have a good night, Max. We'll move him out. We'll go to 3. This is a little weird,
mode.
Lou.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll go to 3. I think Lou mentioned that when he goes to 3, he does it like this. Anyway,
it does look a little weird with 3. But
it does look a little weird in the column. Although the elongation of my face makes me feel a little skinnier, so I like it. Anyway, let's go for another 28 minutes if you guys are up to it.
Let's do it, folks. We're so appreciative for everyone coming in and joining us on this Friday night.
Yeah, it's been great. The engagement has been fantastic. Highly appreciated. We've lost Max, which is okay. We still have a Miranda on the pod or on the show. But feel free, of course, folks, if you have like more specific questions. I know we've just been kind of rambling for a while now. Hopefully, things that are valuable and entertaining to you. But if you do have questions in particular, I am happy to pass them to whoever. I'm struggling with yeah, go ahead, Lou.
I actually have a question for Danny. This is the first time we've actually met, but so did you introduce Max into NFTs, or did he find this himself and kind of go down this rabbit hole on his own?
Yeah, I actually introduced him into NFTs. They were taking over my life, and I said, yo, you got to get in this. You got to check this stuff out. He starts minting projects. He starts buying projects left and right. He starts becoming the go-to person, I guess, in his friend group for NFTs. Yeah. He already had a coding background, and fast forward a couple of months, and his friend who has this Quotas company says, all right, we're going to go into this space too. So it's pretty crazy how I introduced him to the whole thing, and then very shortly after, he's working on it just like I am.
You know what I think we should do? We should get a Lucky Trader Lounge NFT with Max as the dev. Right.
Yeah.
And in some way we should benefit Quotas, the animal.
What do you mean?
Like donate some money to Quotas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All those animal projects are doing stuff like that, aren't they?
Yeah. That's good to me. I have a soft spot for that type of stuff. I don't know any, like, do you know some off the top of your head, Lou? If you want to pump some bags.
I think the Lazy Lions have done that, right?
Okay.
I know, there's very mixed feelings about the Lazy Lions in general in the Twitterverse because of how they come at in their comments.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure part of their roadmap had to do with donating to some lions. There was one. D's nuts. Did you hear about that one?
I did not hear
Oh,
about these
that-
nuts.
Lou,
Is this
please.
Lou? Are you trying to get me again? I already got once.
No, this one I don't have it, but the head is like a peanut or like a different or cashew. They're all different nuts, and
Not going to
but
Google search this
they
one.
donated money to like testicular cancer. That
Okay.
I like that. I
but
like
I've
that.
seen
Hey.
others that are animals too.
Yeah, and we're
What's
trying
cool-
to do some
What's
stuff.
cool about the quokkas is that there's only 15,000 quokkas alive right now. It's an endangered species.
Sponsor one.
So every time you are, you're buying a quokka or minting a quokka, you get. It's almost like you're sponsoring one.
Yeah,
But-
that's pretty sweet. Actually, they should do 15,000.
Wow. Yeah.
This would be
Yeah.
like actually I've seen some NFT FUD about the whole like buy or rent a star thing. Have you seen that comparison before, Lou, on Twitter? Have you seen that? I don't know
didn't
exactly
see that.
where it came. But
Like
I
by
feel like I
accident.
saw a Twitter thread where like somebody who was just hyper critical of NFTs is like, this is just like the own a star thing, right? Which is where you can't actually own the star, but like you pay $5 or whatever, and you get to say that you claim some star and you name it or whatever. I think it's cooler to do the quokkas though, and just imagine that you're. I would love. Yeah, right here. Can I redeem one for an in real life one? Does it get shipped to me, dude? A quokka. I'm guessing people, despite their endangered status, I'm guessing people in Australia have tried to domesticate these things. They're freaking adorable.
Yeah.
Brandon likes the quokkas now.
Yeah. I mean, they are. I honestly had never seen or heard of a quokka prior to chatting with Max before the show.
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe, we were talking about building our own bag, and it could coincide with our launch for building our bag. This might be a good first mint. For our
I was
own bag.
actually I was looking into this a little bit more earlier today, Danny. One, I need to like check with the people at Lucky Trader to make sure that we're
Company
trying to be
man,
completely
Logan
above
Hitchcock.
board, right? Like so both legally and like all the regulatory stuff. We want to make sure we're completely on board. I think we're going to be perfectly fine. But I was looking into finding like which multi-signature wallet, right? Which either you and me or whoever's participating, right? Everybody could hold, one of those keys so that we could kind of jointly build a bag. And I think we want to do that. I think we do want to, like, whether it's every show or every other show, or maybe we do a show dedicated to it a week or whatever. Yeah, build a collection with the people that are on the show, and the people.
That would be so cool.
So I think it would be a lot of fun. Hopefully a way to like build community engagement, right? And actually have some fun and talk about buying NFTs and pump Lucky Trader and do all the things like we need to do, right? That's kind of like a prerequisite for this show, but also hopefully have some fun, maybe make some money, maybe donate some money.
I'd love to have like a Discord or a Telegram, whatever's easiest, where we could just communicate directly with people who are. Yeah.
So,
you have some
Danny,
news? You have some news?
I have some news. It appears you did not open the Lucky Trader newsletter earlier today.
I didn't. Tell me
Bastard.
more. What do you mean?
Lucky Trader newsletter earlier today. We did leak some information at the bottom of that newsletter. There will be a community Discord for Lucky Trader. It's coming soon. I can't give you an exact launch date. We're making sure. I mentioned this on one of the previous shows that we're just like making sure we're completely up to snuff with all the moderators and and so that we don't have any issues once people get in and people can engage appropriately and professionally and all that stuff. So we do not have a Discord. It's just a question here from CB Trey. Don't have a Discord publicly facing at present time. It is coming soon. So please do stay tuned to this show and the Twitter Lucky Trader HQ at Lucky NFT News is our curated news feed. Subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll obviously find out and hear about it, but that will be your opportunity to connect with others or connect with us as well, get access to us. And then hopefully you come back on the show. But yes, Danny, we'll have that opportunity. I see a note from Tim here, buy a bag from a viewer. Yeah, I mean, we may be buying bags from viewers, whether it be like stealth buy, like the viewer slips in oh, you must have this, and then we don't know we're buying it from you or whatever. But yeah, Lou, what are your thoughts on community bag building?
Yeah, I think when I heard about it, I was thinking about like the bankroll challenges that people do.
We could certainly incorporate that, right?
Yeah. So maybe like you start at 0.2 ETH or something, and each week you give everyone an update. Now we're valued at X amount, and I think that'd be cool. Definitely.
Yeah. The other thing that we'll hopefully soon be able to do that is some new features, again, that I can't leak too much about for Lucky Trader, right? Will allow us to sort of watch that portfolio, right, and sort of see that on site and understand like what do we actually own, what do we hold, those types of things. So we should friends are not exit liquidity. That's a good one. It reminds me of the Fisher friends not food from Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is Pixar, is that right? Pixar / Disney, is that right? Are Pixar and Disney the same thing? Does Disney own Pixar?
Quick Google search.
I don't think so.
Anyway,
Finding Nemo is Pixar.
We were talking about big brands earlier. We got 19 minutes left now. We were talking about we're talking about big brands earlier. Lou, I know I put you on the spot with like asking you like I was asking you more so about like, is there a brand you'd sell out for? We were sort of talking like CPG brands, right? Like a coffee company or a beer or something like that. Is there an IP or like, so SpongeBob, South Park, right? CBS Viacom just signed an NFT deal. Is there an IP like a television show or anything like that you would like want to own an NFT from?
Imagine if like Netflix started doing it. That'd be a crazy IP. I know a lot of people were going wild when Visa got into the NFT game by buying that CryptoPunk. So I mean, any IP. That's why everyone has such a bull case on Top Shot, because of NBA's IP. So yeah, I think someone like Netflix would be cool. Pokemon, Pokemon's a good one.
Oh my god,
did you guys get into Street Fighter? When Street Fighter was on,
I did.
That was on Wax.
I bought Street Fighter. I have plenty of bags, Street Fighter bags still. Are you still holding plenty?
I have 2 Street Fighters, and they're both like the rarest one, whatever they're called, the collector's.
You're just holding for eternity.
And I mean, I think they're listed, but no one's buying them. It was more the idea that if this were to become a thing, like they'd sell well. Did you see that one?
Yeah, they bought an ape, right? Or are they doing something with apes, right, or something like that?
Yeah, I saw a picture where there was an ape on Arizona iced tea can.
Danny, I gotta know, this is completely unrelated. Have you been standing this entire time?
I stand throughout every podcast I record,
and
every Lucky Trader Lounge I record as well.
Okay, I was just curious. I'm sorry, man, to make you. I mean, like we know
Sorry.
We know sitting's the new smoking, but I didn't give
the
you
energy
any heads up. But yeah,
I don't care. I could stand all day long, but I'm more curious about what Ray Chung has put in the chat. Crodes pushing 0.3969.
Wait, is Crodes the accepted shorthand for creature toads?
We're making them the accepted.
Well, yeah, that's what he means.
Shorthand.
I didn't know Crodes was the. I didn't know.
There's so many of these toads now that we just,
no.
But we were talking about this actually earlier in the internal version of the Lucky Trader Discord. We were coming up with some like other toads derivative projects. Tony mentioned floats, toads on flow. I think it was Tony. There was a fast food baby toads, which would be hilarious. Lou, like your perfect toads derivative, what is it?
Oh man. Well, so the first toad derivative was chodes. And right?
Yeah.
How are those ones doing?
I think they're okay.
Is that
those
one
are
connected?
Like kind of nice looking, right?
Was the creature toads the first one that was actually connected to toads?
Well, I don't think any of them are actually connected, right? Like,
well, creature toads, I think technically yes, because it's creatures and toads combined to one project. I think.
What do you mean by connected?
Like, it's created by people from the same team. is how I understood
Oh,
it.
is Scarano on the team? I didn't know that.
That's what I thought. Maybe not.
No problem. I'm gonna pull up the site. I'm pretty sure Scarano.eth is the artist.
Yeah.
Right?
So Tony's talking about nodes. There was this there's this project that's coming out soon. We were listening to their Twitter Spaces yesterday, and they're calling them node stones. Is like the item that you get, and it's like part of this like metaverse world. And so so that's where his nodes came from. Only toads. Yeah, there's so many things that we could come up with these.
Yeah, I didn't have really any good ones. I said broads, like very broy frat bro toads. Like they're all wearing like Vineyard Vines t-shirts, and you know what I mean.
Isn't that a reason to be very bullish on toads in general, because they're open to that? And
yeah,
there's so many that are coming out now that I think.
What are your take? I want to get your overall take on like derivative projects though, Lou, because I was talking to Danny about this yesterday. And full disclaimer, Danny and I both own Crows, creature toads. I own a toad and a creature as well. But like, what's your take on derivative projects overall? Like, are you like holding? Are you like? And you don't need to divulge your trading secrets or anything, but I'm just curious to get your take on derivatives.
I think it's a little different now than I think before. Something like the toads, where these are derivatives and they're kind of getting pushed from the project themselves. Like Gremplin's come out and he's like, I love it. Like make as many of these as possible.
Right.
Versus like the cool cats, where there was the mutant cats, the space cats. There's all these different cats that are just trying to follow and just ride that wave. Just it's more like cash grabby. And I'm not a huge fan of the companions in projects, because in my mind, you still want the original piece versus like the secondary piece. So I'm not as huge onto the derivatives. They seem more fad in a way, and like following along. So now with all these different toads, like which one's going to catch? That's where I think like the creature toads, because it's a combination of the two projects and looks like more legit in a way. That's why I kind of like that one. But even like the mutant apes, right? Like why would you buy a mutant ape and this is coming from someone that has purchased a mutant ape before. Like, why would you buy a mutant ape for 4 ETH versus say like when cool cats were 4 ETH? Like, why wouldn't you just buy the original project that I think has a higher ceiling, whereas the derivative is always going to be capped by its original ceiling, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. If you just caught that, Lou, I listed some space cats with the Lucky Trader OpenSea power.
I never got those. Wasn't that one a complete rug?
I don't know. Was it?
I don't know. I heard about it once and I never heard from it.
I'm a proud holder, damn it. You can now find 3 space cats available for 10 Ethereum, decreasing to 1 Ethereum over the course of the next 24 hours with the few clicks from the Lucky Trader power tool over in the Google Chrome Web Store. You can access it now. Mitch did make a point here. I get what you're saying, Lou, about the derivatives and like why would you pay for a derivative versus a legitimate original from a collection. But in the case of MAYC, Mutant API Club, are you calling that a derivative?
No, I said companion first before I said that one, I believe. So the derivatives, I think less so. The companions, the airdrops, you're buying into that brand being successful, and it's like a what do they call it in finance? It's more like a stock split. Is that the correct term? Where you missed out on the original push of Bored Apes. It's a cheaper way to get into that community. So that's where like the companions are better.
Yeah. Do you like, okay, so sorry, I wasn't necessarily like following your entire connection there until you just made the analogy with stock split. I like that analogy. So are you like pro? It sounds like you don't think you should necessarily buy MAYC versus like the original, right? But like, are you pro adding those types of things to bring people into the ecosystem overall? Like if you're a Bored Ape Yacht Club holder, I know a lot of Bored Ape Yacht Club holders, because the price of Bored Apes dropped with mutants. Like, we're not happy about that, of course. Same thing happened with Sup Ducks and King Frogs. Same thing has probably happened with a handful of others. To me, though, and this is something I mentioned, in the short term, it's obviously a negative, but in the long run, like, I'm pretty glad. Like, I was a fan of the Sup Ducks dropping King Frogs. Like, I think getting more people into the Sup Ducks community is good. Like, would you believe that too, or you feel differently?
Yeah. So that's the difference between derivatives and companions for me, because derivatives is someone like following in the footsteps. But I think the problem is we originally were talking about creature toads, and I don't know which of the two it is, if it's considered a companion or a derivative.
I think it's a derivative. I'm pretty sure Scarano is not involved, though. I'm not certain. Because this is another like language here, right? First between two and I don't know. I guess that wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
The thing with the mutant apes is they're kind of a very specific case. I think long term, the big brands, the blue chips, kind of need to do that because there's only 10,000 of them. So the nice part about the mutant apes is there's going to be eventually, or should be, 20,000 of them. I think game theory is going to kick in, and eventually people are just going to be like, oh, there's only 100 that haven't been used. I'm never going to use it. But they also have 10,000 of the dogs.
Yeah.
I think more people are into the mutants than
the dogs. The dogs are silly, in my opinion. Like, whatever. I don't know.
I sold my dog immediately. So I had a dog airdrop to me.
Right.
And I saw, wow, this was way back when apes were like 4 ETH, 3 ETH. They might have only been 3.
A long month or two ago.
But it was crazy because the dogs are like 2 ETH. And the original project was 3 or 4. And I was like, that shouldn't be even close. So I sold it. And then obviously I did the go back after reveal and find out it was like a Galaxy one or one of those.
No.
That probably went for 10, 20 ETH. But I think apes are such a big brand that it's a way of bringing people on at like a lower cost basis than all these other things. Where how much did the Sup Frogs?
They were Dutch auction from 1 to 0.1, but most of them went, I think, in like the early 0.2s or maybe a little bit later. And it was the same thing that happens. Like, Danny, we were talking about Boonji Project last night on the show. Like, the Dutch auction was taking place. Same thing that happens with every Dutch auction. It happened with Mutant Apes too, right? Which is like everybody waits till this one time, and then like a bajillion transactions rush in, and then like gas spikes, and then everyone's cost basis is actually what it would have been if you'd have just paid like an hour before everyone else. You know what I mean?
What happened to Boonji?
Minted out. It's pre-reveal.
You did what time? It?
No, we were on the stream, and then like I freaking bonered it. I bonered it. Tony was
that was my cost basis. 0.42.
That's solid. I like that.
And what is it trading at now?
I think it's a little bit below, but it's pre-reveal, right?
I think it's around 0.5.
Oh, nice.
It's not like it didn't fall off terribly. 0.425.
Wait,
yeah. So
Lou,
it's about the same.
Did you get one of the 33rd?
So yeah, how does the math work on that? Because Tony was explaining it to me.
Yeah, so first 200 minters got a physical sculpture. First 200. So if you were in it sounds like you weren't. If your cost basis was 0.42.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't.
Okay, so, but beyond that, every 33rd mint after 200, so I believe that would be 233, though I guess I don't know if they count, I guess it could have been 232 or I don't know, whatever, one of those, right? Every 33rd mint got a physical Boonji sculpture. So you need to be some multiple of 33, so like either 33 or 66 or 99 probably, or then 32, right?
So, because Tony told me that my mint does count for that. It's 5810. So 5610 is out of. I mean, it's only 9 o'clock for me.
Lou going wild, baby.
Yeah, 5610 divided by 33 is 170. So does that mean that mine has a physical attached?
It could also be random, right?
No. It was pretty explicitly.
Is there a list
detailed
somewhere? Tony told me that I have it, but he said to also sell it because it's based on who minted it. because I didn't want to list it if I need it for the physical. That could be kind of cool.
Every 33rd sale after the first 200 will also come with a physical Boonji Spaceman sculpture.
So I think I get the sculpture.
Dude, that's awesome. Look at that thing.
Wow.
That is sick.
I thought there was one that was like 7 feet
There
tall.
is. Yeah, you had to mint 5 though. Buying 5 NFTs during the public auction put you in the running to win one 7-foot Boonji Spaceman sculpture.
I'm gonna
This is
have
actually-
all of these physical items. Did you
Do you
guys
have
get
other
into
physicals?
Alphabetti doodles? Have you heard of that
I
one?
held some of those at one point.
I
no longer do.
got that in the mail. It's like a kid's book. And then were you guys into Rally Road at all? I have this
Dude,
it's the Declaration of Independence.
dude, I'm wearing the Rally punk hat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm just learning the new camera thing, guys. So.
And then I was in on Gutter Cats. That was one of like the big or like earlier projects that I was in. And I ordered, they have like a Nifty slab. Have you heard of that?
Oh,
before?
the Nifty slabs are nice, dude.
I don't know when I'm gonna get it, but I put in to order it. It was like 0.06 cost or something. And it covers like shipping, but I think it's coming from out of the country, so it's taking forever. But yeah, I'm getting all these like physicals attached.
These are my physicals, baby.
You're getting that actual shoe?
I have it at home. I just bought a
Wow.
glass case for them.
That's dope.
I told Danny last night, we were talking because we want Ferocious on the show. Lou, if you didn't know before tonight, I might be the biggest Ferocious fan on the planet.
Why do you want
Artifact.
Ferocious on the show, Logan?
I want Ferocious on the show. I just want to engage with Ferocious. I love his art. I think
Seems
the energy is like unbelievable. And I truly believe like that the art and like the person in this instance, Danny, we're talking about betting on the people and the art. Like I think it's both here, right? And I just love the art. I love everything he does. I think it's all fantastic.
We're
I
going
don't
to
know.
clip that. Thank you, Ferocious. Hopefully we'll have you on the podcast.
I don't know. I don't know what it is or why necessarily, but I want to meet Ferocious. This is one of my physicals, Lou. And I also have, I was talking to Danny last night. I also have a physical Coldy, one of the decentralized. Have you seen the decentralized from Coldy?
Coldy. Yeah.
Coldy.
COLDIE.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I know Coldy is from the NFT boxes back in.
Yeah.
that
Same
was, like,
here.
the first one.
Okay, so here's the Julian. I don't own. I own the Vitalik one. I own a physical. Like somebody leaked some alpha earlier this year about Coldy had
Is
a
it
physical
physical
store.
of this.
No, it's the. I have the Vitalik one. I don't know. Maybe I can search for it in the same. Centralize. I have this as a. Was it gonna load? Did I break it? Oh God!
Wow.
Did I break it? I don't know what's going on. It's not quite this, but it's like this. But yeah, I have a physical Vitalik from Colby.
Is it physical print?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like you can move it around. It's 3D and it's pretty sweet. But okay, we are coming up on the 2-minute warning. So I
Are
do
you
want
excited for Artifacts? Mint?
I am.
That project, the Akira. That's probably the one I'm most excited about.
We'll actually have a piece on that coming shortly at Lucky Trader. For folks who maybe don't know too much about Clone X, the artifact drop. We'll have a piece coming shortly about that, a little bit of the insights there and why that might be something to have on your. Tim has been providing. Tim, thank you for your commentary all night. Dark mode. Some of us are in bed. I'm preparing for bed here shortly. I've kept people up here for far longer than I said I was going to. We do have 2 minutes left, though. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Lou, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
It was awesome. You added a whole different dynamic to the show. You brought people to the show, a loyal fan base that, of course, loves you very, very much. We're grateful to have you here. Danny, any parting thoughts? We have like less than a minute because I want to give Lou a chance to.
Yeah, I would just want to say I'm grateful for Lou coming on. I'm grateful for my brother coming on.
Max,
I'm grateful.
yes.
I'm grateful for all these amazing people who decide to write some comments in the chat. We appreciate you tremendously. Tim, Josh Daniels, Carlos, Tony. We just have so much love for you. And of course, Peter Overzet, if you're still around. A lot of appreciation from our end. Thank you for being here. and excited to do this again with you next week, Logie.
Yeah, Lou, any parting thoughts?
Yeah, this is fun. I'm glad that you guys are doing something like this. The sort of interactive live stream. It's definitely, obviously, like I said, with the Club MGMI stuff, it's really a way to connect with people in a different way and answer their questions right away, go through different things, and it's more casual. It's not
Yep.
like do this, do that. Like it's just talking through things.
Yeah, Lou, go ahead. Plug Club NGMI Monday night,
Club
9 p.m.
MGMI, 9:30 Eastern, Monday nights. We just kind of go over the week in NFTs, what we're looking forward to. We like to have a guest here and there. One of the weeks we had a pizza party, so we just do a bunch of random fun stuff on that.
Awesome. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Danny. Thank your brother again. And thanks for everybody out there participating all night long. We bumped the time once, twice, thrice, a couple times. Thanks for everybody for sticking around. We're going to head out now, though. Very much appreciated. We'll catch you next time.